What is the most intimate non-sex thing you do with your partner? Taking care of me when I was sick. We've been together for about a year and don't live together. I had to cancel plans because I had a stomach bug, diarrhea and throwing up, and he came over and took care of me. Any man that can witness his girl sitting on the toilet and head in a trash can and still want to cuddle you and love on you is a keeper. When he wraps himself around me tightly while cuddling/spooning and calls it maximum security. If I'm feeling sad, he'll tease me and be like, "Oh, does someone need maximum security?" It's very sweet. Getting dressed for the day or undressed for bed together. Having deep meaningful conversations on the couch. He scrubs my back before I get in the shower. I shave his lower back for him after a health issue necessitated it. Literally sleeping together. That's not something I've done with another person for a very long time. Cuddling and eventually falling asleep in someone's arms is very intimate and requires quite a bit of vulnerability. I think the most intimate thing happened during my second son's birth a few months ago. I had given birth quickly and easily, but then began hemorrhaging. They stood me up to go to the bathroom and blood began pooling down my legs and feet. Immediately back in bed, giving me shots and meds to try to stop it, but it won't. The nurses were scared and a team ran in. My husband laid the baby down and held my hand. I was terrified I was dying and leaving them. I just kept looking into his eyes and telling him I was so scared, and he stayed calm and smiled and reassured me. I'm so lucky they found a piece of retained placenta and were able to give me a second epidural and manually remove it. But I ended up losing almost 800 milliliters of blood. I really thought those could be my last moments, and I just locked eyes with him, trying to communicate everything I needed him to know about our family and my sons, but too scared to say any of it out loud. It was the most intimate moment of my life. My boyfriend swims nearly every day and the chlorine dries the crap out of his skin. So I spend a few minutes every day lotioning his back and ass so they don't get ashy. This is mostly non-sexual, but sometimes I pretend I'm a dude and the lotion is my nut. With crazy humping and dirty talk. He doesn't like it when the turntables. He plays love songs on the piano while I stand behind him kissing the back of his head. I almost cry sometimes. He's autistic and doesn't do verbal affection, but he finds ways to show me that he loves me. My boyfriend draws, and sometimes he draws me naked. Granted, it's a prelude to sex sometimes, but not all the time. It's super intimate. Watching him quietly concentrate and do his work while sort of examining parts of me. I used to be super self-conscious, so just laying there and being out in the open is sort of freeing, and IDK just feels close. My husband likes to straight up lay on me with his head on my chest and fall asleep like that on the couch, like a toddler would. It's so sweet, I absolutely love it. There's always a few moments before we fall asleep where we'll just lay together, making eye contact. That may sound strange, but it always feels super intimate, and in a way that nothing needs to be said out loud. You're just sharing this moment and know that there's nowhere else you'd rather be. My boyfriend is a big guy with a lot of confidence, so it's very adorable when he snuggles up to me like he's teeny tiny. I'm also the big spoon 100% of the time. He can never know I posted this lol. Edit. I told him, because of all the unexpected upvotes, I thought this would be buried. He likes to call me different nicknames, one of them being Peach. So, whenever he wants to cuddle, he says Peach time. And we cuddle and just lay there together. It's honestly one of my favorite things in the world. I love this thread and it makes me feel so lonely. Talk. Just literally open my mouth and let the most random, uncensored stream of consciousness shit pour out. Oftentimes working through things or saying things out loud to process them. And I never, rarely, feel like I'm being judged. I don't recall a time in my life that felt so comfortable and safe and loved in a relationship. That level of trust translates to so many other aspects of a relationship, and it is both scary and exhilarating. We cuddle together naked, I'll admit it sometimes leads to sex, but most times it's just something cute and intimate we enjoy after a long day. Feeling your partner's skin on your skin is so incredibly wonderful, not to mention it does leave you vulnerable. Sometimes I wait until I hear the shower water stop, run and grab him a towel, rustle his hair with it, and run away. Not the most intimate, but that's what came to mind. Close bracket. When we are in bed together, she sometimes steals a kiss on my cheek and I go, "Oh, cooties." I wait a few seconds and whisper, "Psst, pretty girl, I like you." She giggles and says, "I like you too. You wanna go steady? Apostrophe. Yeah." Then we hold hands till we fall asleep. I'm 40 meters, she's 38F. We have 2 kids. Edit. Thanks for the silver. He goes to bed much later than I do, but he puts me to bed every night. I lay my head on his chest and play with his beard while he rubs my head. Then I will usually tell him I need some skin, and I will untuck his shirt and put my hand up inside under his shirt and rub his chest / play with his chest hair as he rubs my head until I fall asleep. It is my favorite time of the day, by far. I have really severe chronic depression that intensifies during the winter months. Sometimes I have days where I'll spiral into this black hole of fear and hopelessness, and my lover will just hold me as tight as he can and tell me how much he loves me and how it'll be okay. It helps more than I can express, and it's so comforting to know that has seen me in such a vulnerable state and still continues to love me the same. To me, it's more intimate than any sexual act could be. I recently started helping my so trim his beard. It felt really intimate. I'm African. He's Middle Eastern. It took me a while, but I eventually let him help with taking out my cornrows when I change hairstyles and helping me wash / condition my hair. That's pretty intimate to me. Cry together, just holding each other as we both sob. We've had a lot of hard knocks since getting married young, but we are still so madly in love. We just bought a bidet. We love the bidet. We regularly talk about how awesomely clean our butts feel, usually while one of us is using the bidet. We are pretty much monkeys. We are obsessed with grooming each other. He plucks my eyebrows, loves to wash my hair, and do face masks with me, and I pluck all his weird hairs everywhere, pop pimples and cut his hair. When we are cuddling naked in bed, I hold his flaccid penis and it's the best feeling ever. Then we fall asleep. Going to the with my partner. I was so scared and vulnerable, and he stood by me and held my hand the whole time. He held my hand while they changed my IUD. I hate it, and it was awful. He also made sure I was comfortable after and drove me home. Or was the opposite of sexual, but in a way it kind of was, since my sexual / reproductive health can affect his. We wrestle and play fight. I know it's weird, but it's so fun. Plus he was an NCAA wrestler and has his purple belt in BJJ, so he can twist me in any knot he wants, and it's oddly satisfying to be under his complete control, but it's actually not sexual. I just wanna say, I love this thread. I feel like a blanket is being wrapped around me right now. That is all. Sometimes we start giggling at a silly joke and end up just laughing together uncontrollably in bed before we go to sleep. It's my favorite. Riding in the car together singing our favorite songs. Although I'm good at sleeping long nights, I have trouble actually falling asleep. We'll cuddle, and with his big voice he'll invent a story so that I can doze off to his soft bass like golden sound. Once, he summarized Star Wars episodes 1 to 3 since I hadn't seen them and expressed how much they sucked compared to the rest. It was amazing. Edit. Internet is sensitive today. Edit #2. Episodes 1 to 3. As in Phantom Menace, etc. I like Star Wars okay, just not the first 3 story episodes. Edit #3. Rip my inbox with fans and haters. Washing each other. We'll do full service, butt crack, etc. Literally whole body. Rarely turns sexual for us. A lot of times we do it after 6, when we are done cuddling. Another is probably medical care for each other. I have a bad back, So he'll help me move in bed if it's a rough day, or put on my shoes and stuff. Helps me keep my calluses in check on my feet lol. I try to help him with acne, much to his distaste, and other grooming or medical needs I can meet of his. Cooking for him feels intimate to me. I'm self-conscious about my cooking because my ex-husband made fun of me. I like gourmet cooking. He likes meatloaf and mashed. Close bracket. I'm trusting him completely when he eats the food that I make, and thankfully, he loves it. This ducking thread is breaking what's left of my cold, frozen black heart. Accidentally drool on him when we are both sleeping. What came to mind first was actually non-physical intimacy. I trust him with all my passwords and bank info, and honestly, at some point or another, we've told each other our SSN/sins for paperwork or something. He's the same at me. We just are a cohesive unit of I trust you, you trust me. Can you check my email for me to see if my mom emailed me back at all times? It's intimate for me to have that trust be mutual. Good thing I married him. When we wake up after sharing a bed together, we take a few moments to just be and enjoy each other. We'll snuggle in closer, nuzzle into each other's necks, and give each other so many kisses. And sometimes we'll just lay there and tell each other about the dreams we had while staring into each other's eyes. When one of us has class or work, we set an alarm that's half an hour earlier than necessary just to start the day off like this. I pop the pimples on his back. Does that count? Be vulnerable. Share intimate thoughts and worries. Me asking for some of his time if I need him. Has an introvert and I'm an extrovert. And I always feel selfish asking for his time, even though I don't find it selfish at all when he needs me time. Him, from what has told me, being the one person who doesn't drain his energy, I can be overbearing and hyperactive. So it means the world that he never doesn't want me around. Holding hands at bed, just too damn cute and full of love. Cuddling. We clean each other's ears. Lol. Sometimes my wife will ask for a foot rub, which I think is very intimate, but can be sensual. Sometimes she asks me to clean her ears, and having her head on my lap as I take care of her in the silliest and superfluous of ways, makes me feel connected more than other ways of physical touch. I don't think she knows how much I enjoy it. Edit. Added details. I'm not a woman, but I like this question. Showering. It turns sexual like 40% of the time, but it always involves goofing off and talking. Switching sides for hot water is always cumbersome and it's just two goofballs. Sometimes I play foot or hand and put either on her butt and have her guess. Showering and brushing each other's hair. I pick him up on my way home from work and we have those 20 minutes of how was your day? How was yours? Just sharing and keeping each other up to date. And we can talk about pooping. About once a week we get naked and sit in a quiet little room to talk about our worries, things that annoy us in work, funny things that have happened, and our plans for the future. Semicolon. It's a sauna. We go to a sauna together. I couldn't decide on the most intimate. Shower together. Stroke each other's faces and back. Talk deeply about anything. Write letters to each other. I love reading his words. We went out for a meal together and were sat opposite each other in cozy armchairs. I love just sitting and looking in each other's eyes. Very intimate. She holds me when I cry. I grew up in an abusive and negligent family. Naturally I suffer crippling depression and anxiety. Currently going to therapy. Sometimes we dig deep into the trauma. It feels like I'm being torn from the inside. There's nothing to do but feel the grief. Let it pass through me. Never have I been more raw and vulnerable than in those moments. Being held tenderly while I'm ugly crying. Sobbing. Even wailing is love at its best. We are currently engaged in a farting war. So there's that. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.